This week's episode of What Happens in the Woods is brought to you by Crimes and Closets podcast. Crimes and Closets is a true crime podcast hosted by best friends Beth and Christy, who met in North Carolina. Christy has since relocated to St. Louis, but distance hasn't kept these ladies apart. Both of them are married and both are mothers to 3 kids, so their lives can be pretty crazy. So with wine in hand, they sneak off without the fam and head off to the closet to tell us true crime stories. So, if you like a little wine with a true crime, join Beth and Christy every Monday in their closets for a new case. While you're at it, subscribe to their podcast and tell them Olivia sent you. Bye!
Hey guys, this is a new podcast called Crimes and Closets. It's just 2 gals hiding in our closet from our families and all the crazies out there talking true crime with you. So if you're interested in joining us, please find us on Instagram at Crimes and Closets or on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now. We hope to see you soon in the closet.
Well, this is it. Season 1, episode 10, the finale. We're here. I'm Jessica. I'm the host of What Happens in the Woods. Back with us this week is Bryce, my wonderful husband.
Hello.
Who enjoys torturing me with all sorts of assorted noises and sounds.
That's what she said.
Don't give us copyright infringement.
I won't.
I just kind of keep asking myself, how did we get here? Whose crazy idea was this?
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's all mine. It's all my crazy idea.
Yes.
Yes, but you were crazy enough to go along with it.
You act like I had a choice.
You could have said no.
Yeah?
You could have said it.
Have you tried to say no to you?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
So this morning we hit over 1,100 downloads. It was just kind of, I don't know, mind-blowing, I guess, how this momentum is just gathered this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything has really snowballed this month. We want to really give everybody a huge thanks for making that possible. We just have one simple request. Please give us a review on whatever platform you are listening to. Really helps us grow as a podcast, and it gets us out to more people. So we just want to keep that momentum going, even though we're going to take a short break for a couple of months, get a new setup, come back with some new stories, new things. We're not going to be absent, but this particular way of doing the podcast is going to take a little pause for a minute. You have something to add?
No.
Okay.
This is your circus. I let you run it.
Okay. All right. Well, buckle up, because kids, we got one batshit crazy story that I'm gonna talk about today. I'm gonna give a disclaimer here. Common sense being what it is, you guys should know anything related to true crime. Please, if it bothers you, don't listen. But this one specifically is a very disturbing story. So there's abuse of all kinds that almost at some point sounds like something out of a horror movie. This is the kind of shit that that happens, but you think, who is capable of doing this? Who would ever do this? So please listen responsibly. If you are upset in any way by physical, mental, emotional abuse, corporal type punishment, child abuse, mental illness, we're going to cover it all. Fair warning, I'm going to get right into it.
Am I excused?
Does any of that bother you? I'll run the podcast by myself. Fine.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. So I thought it only fair to take a look at female murders or serial killers, since most of our episodes have been about men, right?
Yeah.
So then I found out about Michelle Notek from Raymond, Washington. Michelle and her husband would spend years abusing their children, eventually be suspected in 3 disappearances, and possibly responsible in some way, shape, or form for 4 deaths.
Okay.
Dave Notek, Shirley's third husband, would spend 15 years in jail for the murder of Shelley's nephew, Shane, and improper disposal of human remains. Shelley is about to be released from prison in 2022 after serving time for second-degree murder and manslaughter. And I will tell you why that bothers me so much towards the end of the story, as if you're not going to be able to guess.
Okay.
So I'm going to recommend a recent book about Michelle that I first heard about while looking for new books to read. And then a friend mentioned the book and how bizarre yet horrible the story was. When I finally read it, I couldn't put it down. The story had me hooked. And as I learned more and more, I became very angry, very frustrated. This woman and everything she touched just went to hell. The lives that she destroyed, the damage done, it's enormous. People were playthings for her. And she enjoyed being the master puppeteer behind the scenes, controlling everybody and every fucking thing. At first, I didn't think it was a good fit for the podcast. Honestly, I didn't want to discuss it on here. And I always kind of worry how victims of these crimes are going to react because their lives are kind of put out there.
Yeah.
You know, what has been done against them is put out there. It's not something you want to keep reliving. It's not something that you necessarily want everybody to be privy to.
Yeah.
You know, having this plastered all over the news is, number one, how do you get over it when you're constantly being asked to relive it? And number two, how do you maintain any sense of normalcy in your life once that happens? Here we are, though. We're discussing it. I have a reason for that.
Okay.
So there's so much to cover here. Get some snacks, get cozy. We're going to dive right in. So Michelle, or Shelley as she was usually called, showed signs very early on that she was controlling, conniving, and destructive. At the age of 6, she and one of her younger brothers were sent up from her mom in California to live with their dad and his new wife in a little town called Battleground, Washington. The youngest brother would come up as well 7 years later after their mom died. It's possible that they were abused while they lived with their mom. I would say more than likely, given how each of the children turned out. The mom was a troubled alcoholic who ended up in an abusive relationship, and she was eventually murdered by her boyfriend. She was found dead in a motel, just abandoned.
Wow, these kids had a good start.
Yeah, it's really sad. Pretty much as soon as the kids were in Washington, everybody could see that Shelley was a piece of work. If she didn't want to do something, she made everybody's life hell. She wasn't going to do it. She became a perpetual liar about any and everything. Didn't matter. Little things, small things, she'd lie. Just lie. She even went as far as accusing her dad of raping her at one point.
Her real dad?
Her real dad.
Okay.
And she ended up not coming home from school one day. And stepmom, is getting very worried, like, where the hell is she? She calls the school and they tell her they can't divulge any information, but that Shelley, they know what's been going on to Shelley, and they took her to basically the authorities.
Okay.
And handed her over for investigating the crimes happening to her, the things happening to her at home. So they have to go pick her up from authorities. She is basically saying, my dad's been raping me. At this point, she's like 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And the family's like, what the fuck? They call in their own doctor. He comes and gives her an examination. She's like, he said, she's a virgin. She's never been touched. There is no possible way that she is being sexually abused or raped. She never admits that what she did is a lie. Never. Not once. So while Shelley seemed to come to some of this behavior naturally, she really fine-tuned her sadistic skills by watching her grandmother, Anna Watson, at work. So sometimes Shelley would be on the receiving end of her grandma's cruel attacks, but mostly the two were inseparable and they plotted together. She saw how firsthand how mean and ugly you could be to people, and that they would let you, that nobody would push back, that you could pretty much get away with whatever you wanted, because in general, people put up with it. So Anna was abusive to employees at the family owned some nursing homes. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of ladies that came to her house that worked at that nursing home and also worked in her house as maids and whatever she needed done. There was one time she got pissed off at one of the young ladies. She gave her a swirly in the toilet. Grown-ass woman gave another grown-ass woman a swirly.
Who thought that was okay?
She thought it was okay. She didn't fucking care. It's insane behavior. And
it is.
This is what Shelley was taking in. She lived for it. So after the rape accusation, the family tried to get Shelley help by seeing therapists and psychologists. Nothing helped. She didn't see she had a problem. She didn't see her behavior was an issue. The high school in Battleground would not accept her back after that. They said, no, thank you, basically. She's not welcome.
Sure. It's a serious accusation.
Well, it is. And the thing is, to just make that statement and put it out there and then not show any remorse for it. Who else would she do that to? Who would feel comfortable having her as a student in their classroom? Because predominantly males at that time, this is, the 60s, 70s, who were teachers.
Yeah.
So who would feel comfortable having to interact with her in any way?
Yeah.
Nobody. So then she gets sent down to Oregon to a Catholic school that's run by nuns. Her stepmom and dad think, oh, okay. I mean, this is Catholic school. They're gonna turn her around. The nuns are no nonsense. Yeah. They're gonna turn her around. She lasted a year there. She was asked not to come back there either.
Oh wow, that's bad. Even if the nuns give up on you,
right? Your soul is damned. Shelley ended up on the East Coast with her aunt and uncle, so her dad's sister, who she had fed them lies that she had been mistreated, talked about all of her stepmom hated her, and just sob story. They fed into it. They had no idea. So she went back there to finish high school, and honestly, her stepmom and her dad were so relieved to have her gone. They didn't even try to stick up for themselves. They were like, oh, she'd be much happier with you. You want to take her? Here you go. And family in Washington here, they piled into a truck and a trailer, headed down for the summer to California, and went to Disneyland and enjoyed the hell out of themselves without her.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty much how they would go about dealing with her, is give her what she wanted until she shut up, or don't deal with her at all. So then came along husband number one. While Shelley is in Pennsylvania finishing high school, she met Randy Rivardo. They married in 1973. They were both just 19 years old. Her family basically thought, good, she's got a man who's going to handle her, take her,
she's not our problem anymore.
Exactly. Now maybe she's going to be happy, and she'll quit making everybody so miserable. They bent over backwards, brought him out, gave him a job at the family business, set them up in a place to live. Anything to make it look like the pot was sweet and take her on. They did it. And basically, they feared what she would do if she didn't get her way. And there's one story that's told that when her dad didn't buy her a car that she wanted, she faked an overdose of sleeping pills and pain meds. Turned out that she took a little bit of fucking aspirin and was perfectly okay to maintain this lie and get her stomach pumped. That's not pleasant. That is not a pleasant experience. She did it. That's dedication.
Wow.
That's just the type of thing that she was comfortable doing. It didn't do much for her though. So she then faked a rape, an attack again, by saying an unknown man broke into the mobile home that she and her husband were living in.
Yeah.
The sheriff's called out. He figures out pretty quickly that she's lying, that her wounds are self-inflicted. And he says she should feel lucky that he's not taking her in on filing false charges against somebody. Still doesn't scare her straight.
Jesus.
Instead, she complains that it isn't safe for her and never admits to lying about being attacked, just so that she can move out of the trailer that she was not happy with, and her dad would pay for her to have a house. She concocted that story. And about this time, her husband starts kind of thinking, what the fuck did I get into?
Yeah.
What is going on? He's not happy. And then she gets pregnant. So their daughter is born in 1975, and everybody just hopes that she will take to motherhood and straighten the fuck out. Obviously, she does not, because we're here discussing the rest of what happened.
Oh, yeah.
After spending 3 months after the baby is born at her dad and her stepmom's home, because she refused to take the baby back to a trailer, Randy decided, he demands, you're coming home. You're coming home with my child. And she does, but it's only to make trouble. So Randy starts getting locked out of the house. He has to sleep in his car. She takes his paycheck and she spends it on whatever she wants.